Well, good morning. So it is just before 7, just woken up, and I thought I'd share with you my morning routine. So this is how it goes. So I'm going to head straight to my bathroom. So first step, bit of tongue scraping, and I'm going to spare you the actual demo there. And then large glass of electrolyte. So I made some electrolyte water last night, so it's just all ready. Really good to rehydrate. I'm using the Body Bio, and it's it tastes fine. So that's giving me the magnesium, potassium, sodium, just to rehydrate after the night. And it's just great to have a couple of large glasses, glug it down first thing, just to get that hydration back into the body. So the next thing is I get outside and I'm barefoot, and that's really important because this is where you do your grounding. Now ideally you want to be grounding on grass, but if you haven't got any grass, just get out onto some stones, some bare earth, but it has to be bare feet because that's the connection. So I've got a bit of grass here. So even just a few minutes, it feels so good. There's just this natural energy, and it's all to do with negative ions, and it's really, really interesting. But once you start doing it, trust me, it's like really healthily addictive. And of course, being outside, you again are getting all that natural near infrared from the early morning sun. Even on a cloudy day, you're going to absorb it. If I've got a bit more time, maybe 15-20 minutes, I might stay outside if the weather's nice, do a bit of meditation, just some breathing, some stretching, just enjoy the beauty of being outdoors and stay out just for as long as you can, really. Feels so good, but the key is barefoot. So then I've obviously rehydrated with my electrolyte water. And if you don't have electrolytes, just use a little grinding of rock salt or sea salt, just like half a teaspoon in water. That's going to give you your sodium to help rehydrate. Now I'm going to have some black coffee. Now black coffee is not going to break my fast. It's going to give me a little bit of energy. We know that coffee's got lots of polyphenols and plant compounds, as well as a bit of caffeine. So it's really good to have first thing. And then for the energy, I'm going to add a splash of MCT oil. So this is going to go into my black coffee. Just a spoonful. Now you can, when you're starting with this, I'd start with a small teaspoon maybe and then build up. I mean, hardcore purists will do maybe 1 or 2 tablespoonfuls, but you've got to get your tummy used to it first, so don't go all out to start with. So then you can just whisk it in. You can either use a fork or a little cappuccino whizzer just to kind of mix the oil a little bit in with the black coffee. I've also got one of these gadgets here which is quite good, like a little milk frother. You can use that, that's really good. And I'm going to be using that a bit later on because later I'm going to add more things to my coffee, but because I'm still intermittent fasting, I don't want to add anything that's going to break that. So the MCT is great. It's also going to help with brain energy, and it's going to help with the production of ATP, which is part of the energy cycle, which I'm going to need because I'm now going to go and lift some weights. So these are my 4 friends. I've got 2 kettlebells here. These are 18 kilos. These are the ones that I use to do weighted squats. And then I've got 2 dumbbells, which are 6 kilos. So you don't need a fancy gym or anywhere to keep them. Frankly, you can keep them in the bedroom, in the sitting room, wherever. So for weighted squats, I'm just simply going to do a squat. You don't have to use weights. You could just do a squat without one. Oh, like that. Okay, so that's the kind of move, and we've actually done more videos on YouTube. You'll see me with Michael Gary and talking about how to use weights, so do check that out if you want to learn a little bit more. And then for the 6 kilos, these are the ones that I use for my arms. So I'm doing bicep curls, so it's kind of that movement, like that. And I tend to do 2 or 3 sets of 25 with a break in between. And then I also use these for front raises, just sort of bringing them up to nose height like that. And that's really good because that just helps to shape this little muscle here, so that's a good one. So I'll just do a few weights, I mean literally, I don't know, 10 minutes maybe. Sometimes I'll do a bit of skipping in here. I'll get the mat out, do some stretches, maybe do some tricep dips, maybe do some push-ups, obviously, but kind of the main ones really are anything that is weight bearing. So that's you're using your body weight for resistance, and if you can, up the ante a bit with a weight or two. So it's now just gone 11 and been cracking on with my day. Just made my second cup of coffee, and this is where I start to add a few things in. I don't really want to break my fast, so I'm not going to eat anything. I'm not hungry. That MCT oil has really absolutely kept me going. But what I am going to do now is I'm going to add my creatine. So that's really important. So creatine, we know it gives us energy. It's part of the ATP cycle again, but it's also really good for muscle tone. So if you're doing a little bit of exercise, if you just want to shape up, really enhance that as we age, especially midlife women, seriously, creatine is one of your best friends. So I've got my cup of coffee. You can add it to tea. It doesn't actually taste of anything. So if you want to have a glass of milk, glass of water, whatever, you can add it to that, shake, a smoothie, even yogurt. So I'm going to add a heaped teaspoon of that. And then I'm also going to add my mushrooms. So at the moment from Bristol Fungarium, I'm using reishi, which is kind of like the king of the mushrooms. Very good for all-round adaptogenic good health. It's very good for the immune system. It's good for the brain. Particularly good for the brain is lion's mane. That helps focus and concentration. I've got a heavy day ahead. I'm doing a lot of writing. I'm going to be sitting at my desk, so I'm going to need these two. So I'm just going to basically add 1 pipette full. Well, it's kind of half a pipette full. It's just one application, if you like, one squeeze of the dropper of the reishi and the lion's mane. The reishi is a tiny bit better, but I find it works really well with coffee and absolutely love it. And then you can stir that in, or ideally, if you've got that little whizzer, then use the little whizzer for that, because that will just kind of whisk it up really easily. And then sometimes, not always, depending how I'm feeling, if I'm still feeling a bit peckish, but I don't want to eat anything, I will then also add the butterfat keto. I really like this. This has again got the MCT oil in it, so the medium chain triglycerides. It's not going to take me out of a fasted state. It's got grass-fed butter and ghee, but it's also got probiotics in this. This also has microbiome spores. And what it does is it works a little bit like a coffee creamer. So if you like a milky coffee or tea, and you don't want to actually put real milk in, because real milk's obviously, it's got lactose, it's got milk sugars in it that will break a fast. This, they say, does not take you out of a fasted state. In terms of intermittent fasting, it will break autophagy. So if you're doing super strict fasting, so you're just having water or like herb tea, then this is not good for that. But it is really good if you're just doing your intermittent fasting and want to prolong that period before you actually have your first mouthful of food. But it also makes a milky-ish coffee. And I love the taste, honestly. There's many different things I can load into that mid-morning cup of coffee, the better. And then I'll probably have something, I don't know, a couple of hours, see how the day goes, maybe 1, 2 o'clock. But I feel great, I've got lots of energy. I feel totally energized and set up for the day. So that's how I get going. How do you start your day? Love to hear. Drop a comment below. Do you do any of the things that I've talked about? Don't forget, actually, something I didn't mention, which I wasn't going to share with you, a bit too up close and personal, was the cold shower. So when I finish my weights or any bit of exercise or movement, I have my shower, and at the end of the shower I just turn the tap down so the shower head is really, really cold, and ideally 60 seconds. So I start at my feet and then I just work up and I blast my face, and if I happen to be washing my hair maybe every other day, then I'll put my whole head under. Otherwise it's just my face, back of the neck, chest, arms, everywhere. Count to 60, take some deep breaths, and that's also a really good part of my morning routine. So there you go. I'm going to crack on with the day. Hope you have a good one, and I'll see you back here next time.